Good morning. It is another day here at UGG TV. I got my friend the Elf here. One of my clients sent this to me in the mail yesterday. And I got my good friend and my co-host here, Robert, with me as well. And, Rob, we're on Rumble, so let's get ready to rumble! I just had to do that. I woke up really in a good mood this morning.
Good.
Yeah, I always woke up in a good mood. Except until I cut my damn finger. I was making one of the protein drinks this morning, and those damn blades and those things are sharp.
Yeah.
Anyway, cut my finger there a little bit. Wow, a lot of news over the wire last night.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're all waiting. 11 o'clock our time, 2 o'clock Eastern time. We're waiting for the numbers to come in on the CPI, on the inflation. And everybody is like, got their butt cheeks crossed, wanting to know what the feds are going to do, if it's going to be 50 basis points, if it's going to be 75 basis points, or even if could it be possibly 25 basis points. It doesn't matter. Inflation is still, like Sean Hannity was saying last night, people wake up at a 40-year high. And don't get fooled by what they're telling us out there. In fact, let me share something with you, Rob. In November, the central banks of India and the United Arab Emirates actually discussed a potential mechanism to trade in their local currencies. And in May of 2022, India and the UAE entered a bilateral trade agreement titled the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. They're called the CEPA, C-E-P-A. And this agreement is like a free trade agreement, but its title implies is more comprehensive. And a free trade agreement tends to focus on goods. But still, the CPA, the CEPA, includes services, government procurement, investment, disputes, and similar ideas not commonly covered by the FTA. So, let me explain something to you. The UAE and India trade nearly $59 billion annually, all right? And the UAE is India's third largest trading partner and the 8th largest investor. And the UAE relies on oil, tourism, and import tariffs as the primary source of revenue. Well, the CEPA would eliminate the 5% tariff on 97% of Indian products with special provisions for pharmaceuticals. And the UAE does not tax its citizens.
That's right.
So tourists can actually obtain a work visa within 2 weeks of entering the country, which has led to a population explosion. I keep getting things in my email because of how I deal in real estate, but I keep getting things in my email where they're trying to sell me properties over there in the UAE all the time.
In Dubai.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful place.
Same here.
You getting them too?
I get a lot of mail or emails from opportunities in Dubai. I'm telling you, a lot of my friends who've done very well, they've actually moved to Dubai. They're living their life in Dubai. It's according to them, it's extremely safe. The people there are extremely humble. And it seems like that specific area right there in Dubai, just the development, it's just continuously developing, growing, and like I always joke around when a
lot of wealthier there. That's for sure.
That's why I'm always like, when we have our studio up and running, let's go ahead and do it from Dubai. Let's do a show from Dubai.
Yeah.
Cool place.
So here you go. You have this population explosion of Indian workers, and the UAE is abandoning Indian tariffs is highly noteworthy. So why am I telling you all this? Well, this is coming from the U.S. Gold Bureau, our friends over there. And what this actually means for our precious metals investors like us and those of my clients out there and new potential clients out there, And by the way, give us a call, 800-753-8534. We always appreciate you even calling in just to talk if you want to say hi and introduce yourselves. But 800-753, look, here's Romeo. Romeo comes up every time I start mentioning the number because he thinks, I wish he could just say something, Romeo, to these guys. Yeah, well, anyway. 800-753-8534 or 323-380-5485. Rob, you want to punch in your number real quick?
Yeah, that's 213-466-1283.
There you go. So, give us a call. We have a information packet that we can actually send out to you that'll give you more information. I personally wrote it up myself, and yeah, I think you'd like it. Anyway, so what does that mean? Well, the UAE's agreement with India fundamentally changes and solidifies the economic alliance between India and the UAE. And most Indian tourists become UAE citizens. So suppose the UAE is giving up on Indian tariffs and Indian tourists become part of the tax-free workforce. Where is UAE expecting to gain revenue from? Where are they expecting to get the revenue from? India? So oil and building the infrastructure to transact in either rupees and what they call the dirham is about changing the oil trade from the petrodollar to a basket of BRICS. Brazil, Russia, China. We've been talking in South Africa. We've been touching on this.
Very heavy, too.
Right. It's getting more and more interesting. And we're talking about this new currency is what we're actually talking about here. And the UA has been working with other BRICS nations to actually develop infrastructure to transact outside of the dollar. And this is what I've been saying for a very long time, that they already envisioned and started implementing a new reserve currency to where they could get out from underneath the dollar's dominance. So I'm glad that these other institutions are finally seeing what I've been saying for a long time, and that the UA participation in the most extensive cross-border CBDC test is going on right now with China. But guess what? There's not just a test going on overseas. We have a test right here in our own yard. And it's called MasterCard, Visa, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase. So they started a 12-week pilot program. I think it's been now 3 weeks.
Yeah, since the 15th.
Yeah, since 15th. They started a 12-week pilot program to where they're testing central bank digital currency. Now don't get me wrong. We'll still have the dollar. Remember, I told you you're going to need precious metals to be able to purchase this new currency. We'll still have the dollar because in that order, that 14067 that Biden signed, it clearly states in there, and you've heard me say this over and over again, that it clearly states in there that in order for the dollar to remain the dominating currency, that a digital counterpart is needed. So it looks like to me everybody out there now is definitely stepping into a CBDC, a central bank digital currency.
Without a doubt.
But now it's interesting because now we're talking Russia, South Africa, all of these BRIC nations now are actually a CBDC. I do that again. CBDC test with China. Who else? Saudi Arabia, talking about accepting the Chinese dollar for their oil. And even talking about accepting gold for their oil. Russia. So the UAE, just so you all know, put your listening ears on when I tell you about that. That's what Judy says. Put your listening ears on. The UAE is the second largest OPEC oil production and staunchy ally of Saudi Arabia. And I'll tell you, there are roadway signs in English and Arabic saying UAE and KSA together forever. Literally, this is on their roadways. They have these signs in English and Arabic that are saying UAE and KSA together forever.
Wow.
Huge. And with a heart, it has that. So KSA, I'm sorry, equals Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So here you have the Arabic saying that the United Arab Emirates and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with a heart are together forever. What does that tell you? Yeah. And it was I'll tell you something. What is actually happening right now is Saudi Arabia does, and the United Arab Emirates, whatever they do, they follow.
Yeah.
Whatever the Saudi Arabias do, in other words, they both follow each other.
Right.
Right? And Saudi Arabia now has applied to join the BRICS. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that.
Exactly. And now the United Arab Emirates is working with the BRICS nations to trade outside of the SWIFT system. And it seems that the UAE is acting as a proxy for OPEC to overthrow the petrodollar. So this is what I was talking about. Remember, we talked about this before, the difference between SWIFT and the FedWire. So they've already started implementing a way to get out from underneath any kind of dominance, any kind of sanctions, anything like that. So this is very important what you're hearing right now, because the bottom line is this is how they take down our dollar. Because think about it. Once they stop using the U.S. dollar and they start using their own reserve currency with the CBDC with China, this test that they're doing, imagine what that's going to do to the dollar. And that's why I keep saying, we're going to wake up one morning and we're going to find out that the bottom of the dollar dropped out over in Asia. And that's exactly what I've been saying now for all along. And I'll tell you something, most international trade happens, guess what, in U.S. dollars, and it happens through the SWIFT system. I used to use SWIFT. I did a lot of SWIFT when we used the Bloomberg terminal. But, and let me tell you something, SWIFT is international. FedWire is U.S. So, and it's called the Society for World Interbank Financial Telecommunications. That's what SWIFT stands for, by the way. The SWIFT system. Look it up, SWIFT. And they process nearly 45 million transactions worth about, Rob, $5 trillion a day.
Wow, that's huge. That's big.
Yeah. And if the dollar is the king of the world economy, then SWIFT is the Chamberlain. Right? And nations implement sanctions through the SWIFT system. And after the world imposed harsh SWIFT sanctions on Russia, American friends and foes have increasingly acted to de-dollarize their economy. And if international transactions stop happening in dollars, then the U.S. loses international influence. Also, the U.S. will receive a very costly reality check.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're already testing out cross-border payments with CBDC. I mean, if it's successful, right, I mean, I could see them, eliminating using any dollars or having any part to do with the SWIFT system whatsoever. Right?
Think of the trillions of dollars.
There's going to be a lot lost.
Trillions.
Yeah.
And the Treasury won't have any good options at all.
Yeah.
And the choices will be them accepting civilization, ending inflation, or enforcing worse policies to get the cash out of the system. And the most likely action will be mandatory purchases of U.S. Treasuries. After everything we've seen in the last year, would it surprise anyone if they said that treason is the charge for failing to comply? And if questioning your child's education makes you a domestic terrorist, then failing to do your civic duty to bail out the government must be treason, right?
Right, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So, please pardon my sarcasm, but if you ever heard that type of rhetoric, think back, to just think back to other things that I've told you, right? And fighting inflation is like a game of, and we've said this before, it's like fighting a game of whack-a-mole. You know how they go up and poof, and you miss it, right? Every time too much cash presents itself, the Fed must hit it on the head. And during the pandemic, the Fed flooded the system with trillions of dollars and bought bonds, 30% of those, which were, we learned the other day, mortgage-backed securities, and now are facing another 2008 style crisis. See, you don't even hear about this stuff out there. But believe me, you will. Because as it gets closer and closer, like I said, we're here just to kind of give you the information, just like our friends over at U.S. Gold Barrel. We're just here to give you our information and show you that there's a way out before you do fall into this. This is crazy. So the loose policy now had cash entering the system rapidly, and to reel in inflation, the Fed needs to get those dollars out of the system again. Hence, the Fed is raising interest rates and actually selling assets from their balance sheet, that's what they say they're doing, right? So they've got to get them off their balance sheet. And the Fed is trying to actually slow down the speed of money, Rob, and get excess cash out of the system. So the Fed is actually slowing down the speed of money and getting excess cash out of the system. And to understand what will happen in any market condition, ask, where is the cash? Does the Fed have the cash or the people moving in the economy?
That's a good question.
Right?
Yeah. Wow.
And other OPEC countries will follow if the UAE and India trade outside of SWIFT. And other non-OPEC countries will follow, like our allies even. Because believe me, the euro got crushed. In fact, they weren't even sure if they were going to pay their pensions. They've been barely able to pay their pensions.
Right.
I have my friend, doctor friend. He's like scared to death that he's going to lose his pension that he worked for so hard. And remember, doctors in the Europe, like in the UK and all, they don't make like doctors over here. They're not gazillionaires over here.
Yeah.
They get paid by the government.
Yeah.
So, to lose your pension, it's pretty bad, right? So if those countries no longer transact in dollars, they will not need them, will they?
Whatsoever.
Right? And the dollar then will fall back, and when that happens, ask, like I said, where's the cash? And if you think like the Fed is doing a good job managing inflation, there's no reason to be concerned. However, suppose you're less than satisfied with the government's actions that are leading us to high inflation and the pain that they've caused to bring us out of it. Right?
I mean, it just comes down to, if you're weaponizing, the dollar, if the U.S. is weaponizing the dollar, if it's being used as a weapon, why wouldn't these countries, why wouldn't they want to get from under the dollar, right, and trade outside of the SWIFT system, right, if it benefits them and their countries? It makes total sense.
That's why I say, if you think that the Fed is doing a good job managing inflation, then there's no reason to be concerned. However, suppose you're less than satisfied with the government's actions that are leading us to this high inflation and the pain that they've caused to bring us out of it. And in that case, there's a genuine reason for concern when the problem is 10 times the size.
Yeah.
We're headed toward a recession, whether we like it or not. I mean, it's happening. And inflation, well, we'll see. We'll see what's happening. I believe they've let a monster loose, and like they know that anything's going to happen until after the year of 2023. So that means we have a whole nother year of going without.
No.
That's bad. You know, there's a famous hockey player. His name is Wayne Gretzky. And he attributed his success to being where the puck was going instead of moving to where the puck was. And he looked to the future, not to the present, of how to position himself. And Gretzky's strategy is the perfect argument for precious metals. And the United Arab Emirates and India trading outside the dollar is another clear and present sign. And fewer international transactions will happen in dollars. And as the dollar weakens, gold prices go up. And where do you think that the economic puck is going? And how do you want to position yourself? Give us a call, 800-753-8534 or 323-380-5485. Or you can call Rob on his personal line
at 213-466-1283.
Yeah, I mean, Rob, everything that I just spoke about, this is actually happening. The dollar is going to get weaker.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be putting together another form of a currency if they didn't think that the bottom of the dollar was going to drop out. They know, because believe me, they know what China's doing, I would think, right? But the United States of America is so ballsy with the dollar, with the dominance of the dollar and the sanctions that they put on. But guess what? I don't see these sanctions working.
No. No, I mean, you know, could you really put a sanction on these countries when there's ways to move around these sanctions, right? It's just what it comes down to. Like, you know, sanction Russia, sanction China. They don't care. They're prepared, right?
Yeah.
So,
hey, I want to. So anyway, that's why, you know, we every day talk about getting into precious metals, and of course we like to share other things along with it. But when you look at the whole picture overall, you know, the doom and gloom or whatever it is, it's real, and you know, you just want to have your house in order. And I don't tell people to put everything they've got into precious metals, by no means. Some people do, but I don't tell them to. Diversify. I had a lady yesterday. I asked her, I said, what is your portfolio net worth? She said, with my real estate, blah, 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 da, 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 it's worth about $40 million. Wow. She's 70 years old. I said, $40 million. I said, then you should probably take about 5% of that and put that into precious metals so that you have something to fall back onto. Now, a lot of hers is in real estate, which is a fine way to go because, again, that is something that you can always exchange for more value later on. And that's the kind of businesses that I like to get into and investments that I like to invest in, is I like to invest in things that I know that I can turn around and exchange for more value later on. Rob, you?
yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Right? Exactly. And, you know, and I want to make sure that what I'm getting into is solid and that I do have some type of a guarantee. Well, a stock, a bond, a mutual fund, whatever, I don't have any guarantee. In fact, you know, when you give your money, and I've said this many a times, when you give your money to a banker or a custodian, name it, legally speaking, these are all private corporations. And now you've basically given them your money. In return for that, they give you a quarterly statement, and which is a piece of paper. And that piece of paper is basically an IOU saying that, okay, you gave me this amount of currency, and I owe you back this. And that's whatever is reflecting on whatever it is that they invested in for you. Well, the problem with that is it's not them that affects you. It's Wall Street. It's the markets that end up affecting you. And when they go upside down, like we felt in 2008 and other times, guess what? You feel it, right? And, you know, when they tell you that the market's going to drop 50 to 80%, they're not talking about it dropping all in one day at 50 to 80%. They're talking about over time. So like right now, we've seen the markets like in these 401k plans where they've lost about 27% of their value, right? 27%. Well, that's a lot. And, you know, in some cases, depending on what they've invested you in, you may even lose more, right? All right, so enough of that. 800-753-8534. Remember, that's a call center. And we use them because we're on the phones. I mean, I think sometimes the phone's glued to my ear. I mean, for real. I get out of here and ring, the phones are ringing. So our call center takes the calls for us, and I'll be honest with you, I don't like them. In fact, I tell them I talk about firing them every day. But you need them. You need them, right? And they're not in the office. They don't see what's going on. They're just taking your phone call. That's what they're doing. I tell them we don't want any damn international people, but they bring them. I don't know. We get I think they could be binary drag queens on the phone. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Let's talk about something, Rob, that's important. And I'm not going to despair it. I'm not going to give any misinformation because after we're done here on Rumble, then we send a video over to our friends over at YouTube. And we know that YouTube is monitoring us. YouTube, I know you're monitoring us. And I don't want to say anything that's going to hurt your feelings or anything like that. But I am going to talk about COVID. But I'm going to talk about the COVID-19, check this out, the COVID-19 test recalled over false negatives. And this is important because this is a recall. And if by any chance, take a look at this, it's called Detect. If you have any of those, and see where they're pointing right there. See, right there where they're pointing at that little barcode-like thing right there. All right, so what this is, and this is all over the place. Indianapolis, this is out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Several production lots of COVID-19 tests now are being recalled because there's an increased chance that they may give you a false negative result. So this is important for you to know this, right? And the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, said that the recall involves around 11,102 Detect. The name is Detect, D-E-T-E-C-T, COVID-19 tests, and that these tests were shipped to customers from July 26, 2022 through August 26, 2022. And Detect Inc. says that while they have not received any reports of false positives, it's recalling the test out of abundance of caution. So let me give you the lot numbers. Get your pen and pencils out there, pen and paper out there. It's HB264, and you got to use it. It says used by date 1/1/2023, and the number of tests that were shipped out there were 7,382. And then there's a lot number of HY263. Use date was 1/1/23. And there was 1,800 of those tests. And then there is an HY264, again, 1/1/2023, and there were 1,920 of those tests. So the lot numbers can actually be found on the side of the test box along with the use by date, and the following products are actually subject to recall. You know, Rob, I think we might start doing more types of recalls. There's a lot of things out there that people are consuming on a daily basis that don't even know they've been recalled.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
So I get this thing, I make sure because I want to make sure that I'm not digesting anything that has been recalled. Like that's toxic or anything like that. Hell, you may put soap on your body and your skin might fall off because it was recalled and you didn't even know.
Right.
No, we should start doing that. Mark it in the notes that we start looking at recall items because every day there's something recalled. Your car's been recalled. You're driving down the road, all the the steering wheel goes out on you. It's like, yeah, you know, you never know. Ladies, those of you that put on foundation, makeup, you don't want your skin to melt off.
There
right?
you go. Yeah.
Right? Children eating cereal, you don't want them to get their stomachs gut filled or something with bad cereal. So we'll start checking that out. We'll start doing that on a more everyday, basis as well.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. So I have something fun that I want to show. You can imagine what it's going to be if I say it's fun, but check this out. You know who that is, Rob, right there? Right there?
Who is that?
That's Poodle Hair Sam, the bank man, fraud man. So watch this. I got something I want to show. I hope I can do this right. Let's see. Let me turn this off. Let's see what we got. Check this out. Well, you knew they would do that. All right, well, let's watch the advertising. We're advertising for you guys right now. But is that the gift card? I just got a gift card for my Secret Santa today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. All right, here we go. Boy, they look serious. Is he handcuffed? Yeah.
Yeah, he's handcuffed.
I'd be scared. Damn, how many does it take to put him in a vehicle? Probably they got snipers on the roof and all that in case somebody tried. Did they put him in the front seat? No, back seat. Damn. These guys ain't joking.
No, they're not playing at all.
Wow. Was he smiling? Or was he his head down? He's like, look, Mom, I'm in handcuffs.
There was a recording of Sam's his mother.
Yeah.
When they were referring to Sam as a criminal, he's a fraudster, criminal, and there's videos of her just giggling and laughing, saying, "My son's a criminal," just laughing, maybe out of anxiety or out of fear or out of sadness, but it really seemed like his family, his father and mother, they were all chippery, like it was like pre-planned for him to get arrested by the Bahamian police. I don't know. I'm still under the impression. I
don't think so. I mean, have you actually? So I was doing some study on Fox Prison in the Bahamas, and I was looking at they were talking about uncertain conditions that the U.S. State Department was talking about. Mm-hmm. Rats. they have to pee and poo in a bucket.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I was in Brazil, and I'll never forget. I was in where was I? I was in Florianopolis, and then I went to Sao Paulo, and we were driving, and my driver was like, "That's the prison." Mm-hmm. I'm like, "Where's the damn roof?" Mm-hmm. Oh, it don't have a roof. What? When it rains on them, right? Mm. And they poop in buckets.
Wow.
Yeah. And they cram them together like cockroaches. It's crazy over there.
Yeah.
And anyway, I heard that they kind of remodeled it. I'm sure they said they did that for their new guest. This is probably the most famous guest they ever had in the prison.
Oh, for sure, the biggest high-profile criminal they've ever had.
All right.
I mean, but Florianopolis is a pretty beach town. I love
Florianopolis.
Florianopolis.
You've been there?
I've been to Florianopolis. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 42 beaches in there. It's
so
beautiful.
So beautiful.
The water is crystal blue.
Yeah.
Florianopolis.
When I would Florianopolis. Yeah. When I would vacation to Chile, we would go to so in Chile, in South America, you can go into a mall, right?
Yeah.
And they have kiosks like Avianca flights or other airlines where you can actually go into a kiosk, get a 3-day, 5-day, 6-day package where it takes you from Argentina to Brazil for a couple of days and then back to Chile. So yeah, I've been to.
I like how you say Chile.
Chile, yeah.
I've been to Chile.
Yeah.
So I say Florianopolis, you say Florianopolis.
Florianopolis.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I love South America. South America's great.
Yeah. But it's dangerous over there. I mean,
I guess,
I was when I was over there, some kid came over and he was asking me for money, and I told him no. Because he looked like he was going to rob me.
Where were you?
You know what he did? He threw a pop bottle at me, hit me in the head.
Ouch.
Oh yeah, it hurt.
Wow, a
little kid.
Little.
Oh. I better be careful. I was gonna say yard ape, but I won't say it. Anyway,
oh my God.
A little. He was like mean. He was like climbing. He threw that damn bottle at me. That was a long time ago. We're talking years ago.
You're so funny.
You know I'm playing. I'm just kidding. Hey, I was looking for the thing that the judge was saying. So let me see if I can find this real quick. Okay, yeah. So let me share this with you. So a judge actually ordered the fraud man, and you know, I tell you, they're saying that he's looking at 115 years. This is just like Madoff when he made off with the money, only this kid is younger. Madoff, he was going to die anyway because he was so old. But this kid, he had a lot to live for, and he's just destroyed his life by ripping people off. And I'm telling you, his girlfriend who played in the sexual acts with him, she needs to get and not only that, what's his name? Kevin O'Leary?
Kevin O'Leary.
You cannot tell me that Kevin Leary accepted. How much money did he accept?
I think, according to CNBC, he received $15 million just to promote FTX. And I don't even think he had any of his funds on their platform.
Rob, you would think that his people, Kevin Leary's people.
Hey, money talks. I mean.
Yeah, but still, he's better get. I would think that he would have to give that money back. And, you know, I'm thinking that they will. Listen, I'll tell you something. They were asking.
Then there's billions of dollars to give back then.
Well, they were asking the African lady, what's her name? Biden's secretary, the African.
Jean Pierre?
Yeah, French African, whatever she is. Anyway, they were asking her whether Biden and the Democrats will give any of the money back. And she said that she can't. She's protected under the Hatch Act to say anything.
The Hatch Act.
The Hatch Act. She needs to be hatched. She needs to be axed from her job is what she needs to be. But anyway, Biden supposedly got $5.6 million. Crazy. And they only gave $20 million, and Biden himself got 5.6. I don't think so. I think there's more.
What they're saying is that there's tens of millions that was given to the Republican Party and Democratic Party. I mean, you know, does that money, do they come after that money? Do they give that money back? And now you have to talk about the influencers who were promoting FTX. Do they give the money back? Now they're saying allegedly money was being transferred from FTX to Ukraine. So now does Ukraine give that money back? Like, you know, it's still a very early stage on this case, and it's a huge distraction from what's really happening with, you know, the AUE, Russia, China, the BRIC nations, as well as CBDC being tested in the U.S., bank and brokerage insolvency problems that we could potentially see.
I think there's a lot to come down on this. In fact, a judge ordered the fraud man to, I should say fraud boy. And that boy, I tell you what, 115 years without any sex.
He's
screwed.
He's
literally.
He's really young.
He's going to get it
in his 20s.
Yeah, they're going to make an example out of him in prison. He looks like a little girl. He could become one. Maybe he might become a non-binary. I don't know. Anyway, listen, a judge ordered Bankman-Fried to actually be held at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. They just saw you vape on there.
Oh, goodness. Put it on you.
You know, no.
But the
no, I want them to see that.
You can't expose me.
So Rob has a addiction problem. He's addicted to vape. You know, these things. Let me show you. What flavor is this?
That's cotton candy.
So this is what these kids are getting hooked on. Oh, they can't see it. This is what these kids are getting hooked on, right?
Yeah, it's bad.
I called your number on this one.
Hey, when I was on vacation,
this looks like a freaking. You know what? When we were kids, Now, I only had a little problem. Because the girl at that time that I was crazy about, she smoked. In fact, she died at a young age of lymph cancer, Loretta. I'll never forget that girl. But anyway, we smoked cigarettes. Y'all smoke tubes, plastic tubes.
Hey,
This can't be good for you, Rob.
yeah, probably not.
No,
Yeah.
no, because it looks to me like you got more smoke coming out. It's like, what the hell? Do you do this because you like the smoke that's coming out, or do you do this because you like the flavor?
I mean, I personally do it because I get agitated easily, and I'm cheating on that.
Am I agitating you right now?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. I don't know. I mean, the nicotine, it suppresses my appetite. I'm
Yeah.
able to work longer, right? Longer stretches, right? Because that also gives you like little kick up, little energy boost.
And this is what we're giving this is why they want to make this stuff illegal.
It's like it's kind of like.
Are you addicted?
No, I mean, I went.
Can you go without that for a day?
Yeah, I mean, I've went 4, 5, 6 months without a vape, but then recently because Hunter, he vapes consistently. It's kind of
Hunter
like,
Biden?
No.
I got you.
No.
So vapes consistently are around you?
Yeah, I'm exposed to it, just like I'm exposed to financial
so you're
news.
easily manipulated.
Hey, you can call it that.
All right, I get it.
Yeah, it's like a tool. You know how some people chew dip or smoke cigarettes as a tool, bubble gum, as a tool, right?
But they can't be good for you, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I could quit anytime. I'm not addicted.
Well, that's good to know. All right, so let me go on and share with you. So this judge ordered the fraud boy to be held at the Bahamas Department of Corrections until February the 8th, at least February the 8th. So he's going to be in prison for Christmas.
And that's what it looks like.
He's going to get coal in his stocking, that's for sure. And they're citing that he's at a great risk of flight after New York federal prosecutors actually unveiled charges against him over the collapse of his once high-flying crypto exchange, FTX. And before his bail was denied, the lawyer for the fraud boy said that his client was not waiving his rights to be extradited. And if he fights removal, that the process could involve up to a year or more of hearings and appeals with little hope of success in the end, is what experts say. So this facility where he's being held is also known as Fox Hill Prison. And a lawyer for the boy did not immediately respond to a request for comment. And attorneys who specialize in being extradited say time locked up overseas often encourages defendants to consent to being transferred to their home countries. So the extradition process can take a year or longer, is what David Haas, a U.S. lawyer who has defended people, facing extradition. And usually people don't want to sit in a jail overseas, especially in the Bahamas. I mean, my God. And that tends to be a major factor in whether some challenges, extradition. So Bahamas correctional officer said on Tuesday that Bankman will initially be held in the facility's medical department until staff determine the appropriate place for him. And he's scheduled to appear before another magistrate judge on February the 8th. So he's not even going to go in front of the judge again until February the 8th.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine pooping in a bucket? But he's going in the medical department part of it, right?
I have no clue. I mean, what's the difference?
Wow. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be having a very nice holiday.
Yeah, I mean, this like we were saying, like this could take years before there's a final judgment, right?
Well, they're saying that it's unlikely that he will be held in the general population of the nation's only real prison, the Bahamas Department of Corrections,
Why would
also
that be?
known as Fox Hill. I don't know. I mean, you think about it. He's young. How old is this kid?
He's
20?
got to be mid-20s, maybe early 30s.
20s. He's got big fluffy hair, and those guys that are in those prisons, let's face it, they're black, they're Bahamians, right? Here you have a white boy that is privileged, right?
Yeah.
And he's coming in, and who knows? Somebody could shank him.
I mean, if
You
anything,
know what a shank is? Shanking is when they.
What is that?
That's when they not. That's the word they use in prison.
When they stab you?
When they stab you.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, but I don't think he has that concern because even if they did put him in Gen Pop, I think he has the gift of gab. Like, hey, listen, if you take care of me, you look after me, my family, you already know who I am. You're aware of who I am.
Yeah, but he's broke.
He's not broke.
He's at no. He can't have no money right now.
He's not broke. So
I don't know. I think they've tied up everything that he owns.
No, doubtful. Anyway, it would be like, hey, listen, if you take care of me, your family on the outside, we'll take care of them. You already know who I am, how much money I come from, how much money I have. I'll take care of you. And I could see him manipulating the.
Do you know how much a case like? Listen, his parents are the ones that are having to put the bill up for this stuff. I think that this woman, this Eleanor, I honestly think that she's kind of like the mastermind behind this thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this kid is not that smart, first of all. And if he is, then they ran a Ponzi scheme. But I think she was really behind it because look at what they did was they just took this money
Well, first and foremost, this is a government psyop. This is not.
Well, that's what you say.
Well, it's true.
Well, I mean,
allegedly. But when you look at it,
we don't know until it gets downright dirty.
Think about the connections from MIT.
There's a lot of connections. I agree with you, but until it actually ends up in court, and you can imagine how long this is going to be in court. This is going to be a long trial.
Yeah. So the bottom line is this: I think either they Epstein him, right? They Epstein him. He dies in prison, or he dies
I hope
as
not.
he's being extradited
I hope
back
he gets
to the U.S.
What's due to him?
Or they say that there's been some mix up and they can't find him. He's on the run. So there's three scenarios.
No, he can't go on the run. He's in prison.
Listen, there's three scenarios. He's on the run. He gets on the run. He escapes.
How is he going to get on run? He can't even get bail.
Hey, listen.
They're gonna extradite him to the United States and then he's going to get out.
Anything's possible anything's possible when you're a billionaire.
No,
anything's
He's
possible.
not a billionaire.
There's money. There's plenty of money that he's connected to.
Believe me. If any money starts coming into him, they're going to find out where that money comes from.
I mean, these are hypotheticals, right?
Listen. It's unlikely that he's going to be put in population.
Okay, that's unlikely.
And after he's been denied bail by this chief magistrate, her name is Joanne Ferguson Pratt.
Mm-hmm.
Joanne Ferguson Pratt. And he was denied bail over accusations that he defrauded investors of $1.8 billion. And what the Daily Mail is saying, thank you, Daily Mail, that the formerly feted financial guru emerged looking bewildered and with his hands held down low in front of him and his wrists cuffed. And at one point during the 45-second walk of this huge group of police vehicles, including SWAT SUVs, he looked across at a small crowd of spectators who had gathered to witness the next stage in his crushing downfall. And mop-haired, they call him mop-haired. I called it poodle hair. Daily Mail's calling it mop hair. I agree. But when you go to jail and prison, they shave that shit off your head.
Oh, do they?
Oh, yeah. It's like you're in the military now. Only really military. You're like, bed's got to be made, all that stuff. Anyway, mop-haired Bankman Fried, they say, came out around 6 p.m. after spending nearly 8 hours in court with his legal team, who vainly fought to get him released on condition that he wore an ankle monitor and reported daily to the police. Well, that didn't happen, did it? In fact, you were trying to tell me that he I don't know if you were just trying to punk me or what, But I'm like, nah, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, he refused to answer any questions or speak as he faced a barrage. I love the words they use in Daily Mail. A barrage, in other words, gigantic amount of cameras being led to a blue Ford Explorer and having an officer put his hands on his head to guide him inside.
Yeah.
I just picture it. Handcuffed, putting his head in there. And his Stanford law professor parents, Joseph Bankman and Barbara Freed, were not spotted as was driven off to spend until February the 8th at the jail. And they had been with him all day in court, offering emotional support to their son, who faces 155. That's what I told you. Madoff, 150 years, faces 155 years if convicted of fraud and money laundering. 150. His life is done.
Yeah.
But not until he's found guilty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, which we know he's going to. Hey, come on. Anyway, he is due in court again on February the 8th after the judge in the case decided that his finances and the seriousness of the charges against rendered him a serious flight risk, and his passport was handed over to authorities on Monday. And the judge granted him time to speak with his family and attorney before he was hauled away. Man. Better not cry. Better not pout, because they will get you in that prison, let me tell you. Anyway, they also said that he will likely spend around 2 weeks or longer in the prison's intake section and then possibly be moved to the prison's remand center where he will be kept away from violent offenders. Well, isn't Epstein, he was taken away from violent offenders and they got him anyway, didn't they?
Hey, allegedly hung himself.
Well, yeah. And who knows? This could probably, I'm sure they're going to keep him from being able to do that kind of stuff. I'm sure they'll have a camera on him. I'm hoping. I don't know. But according to the U.S. State Department report on the Bahamas in 2021, the prison is notorious for overcrowding and unsanitary conditions. And there's a lack of toilet facilities for prisoners, I told you, who are crammed in these tiny cells with as many as 8 other inmates. Oh, my God. And those prisoners actually suffered sores from sleeping on the floor as the complex is infected with rats, maggots, and insects. What a nice place to go visit.
Yeah, what a fucked up place.
Wow. And his parents tried to comfort him. Oh, so I'm sure he was crying like a baby. You should have thought about it before you did all this. You wouldn't be there. You wouldn't be in this position. But his parents tried to comfort him after the decision was handed down, according to Eyewitness News, a local outlet in the Bahamas, and CoinDesk and its reporter Cheyenne Lagon. And after his parents returned to court from retrieving his medications from his apartment, a judge denied bail. And U.S. prosecutors now are preparing to charge some of his friends, too. Eleanor? You next? Is she lawyered up?
Yeah.
Is she? You think she's still in Dubai?
Well, there's allegedly there's a lot of photos circulating that she's in Manhattan. She's in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, she has Clinton's attorney now.
Yeah. So I mean, anything's possible with Caroline Ellison and the rest of the group from FTX, but it's still so early. Anything can happen. What we're seeing right now could be fake news. It could be real. I mean, I don't have an opinion right now on it. But
well, let me share a little bit more of what went on in that courtroom.
Sure.
Right? Because you can actually see this. I think when I say it, you can actually see him like sitting in there.
Yeah.
Hands are cuffed. His parents are on the side. Mom's like crying.
Yeah.
Dad's trying to stay stern.
Uh-huh.
And he's crying like a little bitch.
Keep reading.
He needs to. Anyway, so during the proceedings on Tuesday, and this is from the Daily Mail, CoinDesk, and Eyewitness News, all these news stations.
These are
right?
credible.
Yeah, this is all real stuff. This is not a hoax. But during proceedings on Tuesday, his Stanford law professor mother, Barbara, she laughed.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
She laughed when prosecutors referred to him as a fugitive.
Yeah, that's what it was, a fugitive.
I heard that there was a lot of like giggling and stuff going on in the courtroom. But he maintains that he did nothing of the sort and was going to tell Congress today that he could repay all the people who have lost money tomorrow if his assets were unfrozen, despite previously filing for bankruptcy. See, I think these kids thought that they could just, even you thought, you told me, but you're young, I get it, that you can just file bankruptcy and you don't have to face criminal charges. Well, that's not true.
Well, that's not what I said.
Well,
what I said was that his family, his parents, they filed for bankruptcy and he filed for bankruptcy. Now, I never said it had to do with any legal standings, that he wouldn't go to jail or prison or anything like that. More so, just like they wouldn't be able to come after any of the money that they had because they've claimed bankruptcy.
Yeah, but that's not true. Any time you have a criminal case like such, like this right here, doesn't matter if you file bankruptcy or not. If you've got any type of money, like for instance, let's say that any of these investors, and they put X amount of dollars into it, right? Because this happened to me. And let's say that the investor gets paid back a dividend, right? Because you're an investor. If you're caught in something like this, then the government and the receiver, they can actually come back after you and get that money that was paid back to you and the dividends as well. Because what you did was you illegally, without even knowing, accepted money, which is part now of a big case, right? So, and then they pay you back on pennies on the dollar. Whatever they get back, then what they do is they divide it amongst how much money you actually put in, whether you get, and most likely, most of the time, you don't get all the money back because even the receiver himself
gets a commission.
Huge commission.
Yeah.
They're not doing it for free.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's the idea of these.
They're lawyers.
Their job is to go after companies who are doing malpractice or like they're doing.
Yeah. They're lawyers.
And they take a huge commission. They'll sell all your property.
Oh yeah. They'll take his
diamond rings,
cars. If his mother got any kind of jewelry from him,
they'll take it right off their hand.
If the father gave any of the money, they'll take it right off your fingers.
Yeah.
No, they're vicious when they do this.
Yeah.
And then what they do is they have a big old auction. And then that auction, they sell it for whatever they can.
Yeah, so 9 out of 10 times.
10 cents on the dollar.
9 out of 10 times, the ones who got screwed, like the clients, they don't get anything back. It all goes to the receiver.
Yeah, like that $19 million home that he bought for his parents.
Mm-hmm. They'll probably sell that, take a commission, and
I doubt that they're even in it right now. They probably they've tagged it. They can't even go in it. And they take all the furniture that's in there. They take everything. They'll even take his clothes. Look, when Madoff, you should have seen the list. When Madoff got busted, he had a slew of watches, his suits, ties, everything, his gold, his silver. He had it all in his home. Yeah, his wife, they took the ring off of her finger. Everything, his kids, everything. They take it all.
Yeah.
You might as well be homeless on the street. He better be glad he's in prison. No, I wouldn't say that. But meanwhile, listen, I want to go on with it a little bit more. So meanwhile, the U.S. Attorney, Damian Williams, told reporters at a press conference on Tuesday that there will be further charges in the Southern District of New York's pursuit of Sam Bankman-Fried. And Williams said, it's so hard to compare these things, but this is one of the biggest financial frauds in American history. And on Tuesday, the fraud man, the founder of the bankrupt currency exchange, FTX, appeared in court in the Bahamas where he has been holed up since his company imploded in November. And again, they say he was denied bail in court and will remain in custody until February the 8th as he continues to battle extradition back to the United States. And among those potentially in the firing line are one-time girlfriend Carolyn Eilerson and FTX co-founder Gary Wang. So this is no joke. This is no joke. And during the questions and sessions, answer sessions with reporters, Williams joked, "You can commit fraud in shorts and T-shirts in the sun." This is the Attorney General. You can commit fraud in shorts and T-shirts in the sun, and we are not done. I like that. You can commit fraud in shorts and T-shirts in the sun, but we are not done.
That was his outfit every day.
Yeah.
Shorts and T-shirts.
And extradition is ongoing in the Bahamas. And prosecutors in the Bahamas today argued that he should not be granted bail, insisting that he was a flight risk. And insisting on having an extradition hearing, his attorney says he is reviewing the charges and considering all of his legal obligations. Doesn't sound like he's got too many here. And he was due to give testimony today about his doomed platform before the U.S. House of Representatives. And Forbes obtained a written copy of the testimony that he was expected to give. Oh, have you seen this?
No, I have not.
So let me share it with you. So it began. I would like to start by formally stating under oath. Imagine telling this to them. First of all, I would like to start by formally stating under oath, I fucked up. This is in here.
Wow.
It says I effed up. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. I'm only saying what's in front of me. He says, I effed up. I know that it doesn't mean much to say that I'm sorry, and I'm so dedicating as much of myself as I can to do the right thing by customers. Should have thought about that when you started taking their money and buying mansions and planes and all this stuff that you were using this money. Who knows what he was using it for? How many people were in that sex circle? And if there were drugs allegedly being used, how many people actually got money? And believe me, they'll find them.
Yeah.
They'll find everything. But anyway, he goes on to say, when all is said and done, I'll judge myself primarily by one metric: whether I have eventually been able to make customers whole. And if I fail our customers in this regard, I have failed myself. Well, guess what? You already failed yourself. Rob, this kid's full of shit.
He's pathetic.
Pathetic.
Wow.
It's worse than Grandma, what's her name? You know who I'm talking about. The grandma, the one that waved and blew him a kiss.
Oh, Maxine.
Maxine Waters.
Yeah.
It's worse than her. Pathetic.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I can do the right thing by customers. Okay. He says here, but over the next 18 pages, it says he blamed anti-Semitism.
What?
Yeah. Lawyers and even his own ex-girlfriend for the breakdown of the company. Don't take your own responsibility, blame it on other people. Anti-Semitism. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. He maintains that his business, at least the American branch of it, is still solvent.
BS.
He says, to the best of my knowledge, FTX US has been and remains solvent and could pay all of its customers in full tomorrow. This kid's smoking something.
Well, then if that's the case, why not do it then?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Chapter 11 team has frozen the FTX US exchange, blocking customers' access to their account information and funds.
Mm.
And the customers who have lost assets, see, I told you, you can't even, these people are just, until this all goes, you imagine how long this takes? Years.
Yeah.
This case is going to go on for a while.
Yeah.
This is going to go on for a while. I mean, he hasn't even been extradited to the United States yet. And guess what? He could serve his time in the Bahamas and then be having to serve his time he'll never get out. This kid's done. He's fried. Bankman-Fried. That's it. It's Bankman-Fried fraud man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez. And anyway, he says that okay. He says the customers who have lost assets are those who traded on the FTX international platforms, which do not accept U.S. residents. And my primary focus right now is to do right by the customers of FTX International who were hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck the international ones. I'm just interested in the U.S. ones. Jesus Christ. And the SEC complaint and the criminal indictment against him tell a very different story. And they describe how Bankman Fried, he's going to get fried, gave his own company, Alameda, an unlimited line of credit on the FTX exchange. And the same goes for the 10 friends and their partners who were living with them in the Bahamas, some of whom are said to have used a single chat group titled, you ready for this one? Wire Fraud. Here, take a look at her. Disgusting. Pathetic. Pathetic, Eleanor. They had a chat room called Wire Fraud. So they knew what they were doing. Here, take a look at these other fraudsters. Take a look at them. And the Australian Financial Review last night reported that fraudman Ellison Nashad Singh and Zahio Gary Grant, whatever their names are, were using the encrypted chat platform. And that last night, fraudman last night denied being a part of it.
Of course he did.
Yeah. And if this is true, he says, they said, then I wasn't a member of that inner circle, and I'm quite sure it's just false. I've never heard of such a group, he tweeted. And Ellison already hired a legal team of experts in white-collar crime, including a former SEC official, and the SEC complaint suggests that the fraud man will go to trial where his former colleagues and girlfriends might be drafted in to testify against him. And the Daily Mail previously disclosed how the group was living in luxury in the Bahamas despite the collapse of his celebrity-endorsed trading platform. And today's charges cement a spectacular fall from grace for the young businessman who hoodwinked Hollywood stars. And the SEC complaint filed on Tuesday alleges that Sam the Bankman fraud raised more than $1.8 billion from equity investors since May of 2019 by promoting FTX as a safe, responsible platform for trading crypto assets. And it actually describes him as the ultimate decision maker at the FTX from the platform's inception until he resigned. And the complaint says that he diverted customer funds to Alameda Research, LLC, his privately held crypto fund, without telling him. And take a look who he's sitting next to. Who's he sitting next to? He's sitting next to Tony Blair and Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton always gets himself caught up in shit. You can't tell me this guy doesn't know what's going on. Oh, I swear I never had sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. So we know he lies, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You can't tell me that Clinton didn't know what was going on. Anytime money's coming in, these guys don't want to use their own money. They use other people's money. And take a look at this picture right here, him laying down, the fraud man. He's a vegan gamer who sleeps for hours per night so he can dedicate as much time as possible to work. And there he is sleeping on a. This whole thing was a scam. How much more money can we get? And it also says that Bankman Fraudman commingled these FTX customers' funds at Alameda to make undisclosed venture investments, lavish property purchases, and large political donations. So, Eleanor, I think you're going to be sitting behind a ladies' prison before long. I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, come on. She was the head of the Alameda Research. So who was actually giving out that money?
Right.
She was.
Yeah.
And she knew damn well that there was no crypto. She knew it. And today we're holding Mr. Bankman Fraud responsible for. You can't believe me. This kid's going to sing like a canary. They all do. When they all get busted, they all sing like canaries. So responsible for fraudulently raising billions of dollars from investors in FTX and misusing these funds belonging to FTX trading customers is what the exchange said in a statement yesterday. And then Gary Gensler said, here we go. The SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, said, we allege that Sam Bankman-Fraud built a house of cards on a foundation of deception while telling investors that it was one of the safest buildings in crypto. Well, Gary, if you knew this, when he talked to you months ago before, why hadn't there been an investigation into this already? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And the alleged fraud that was committed by by this fraud man is a clarion call to crypto platforms that they need to come into compliance with our laws. This is what Gensler is saying now. And the statement added that investigations as to other security laws and violations and into other entities and persons related to the alleged misconduct are ongoing. Even as it was increasingly clear that Alameda and FTX could not make customers whole, this scam man continued to misappropriate FTX customer funds. Look at what he did right before he filed bankruptcy. He took out $1.8 billion. Before he filed bankruptcy. He knew exactly what he was doing. That is fraud. And through the summer of 2022, he directed hundreds of millions more in FTX customer funds to Alameda, which he then used for additional venture investments and for loans to himself and other FTX executives. And even in November of 2022, faced with billions of dollars in customers' withdrawals, demands that FTX could not fulfill, this guy, fraud man, misled investors from whom he needed money to plug a multi-billion-dollar hole. And his brazen multi-year scheme finally came to an end when FTX Alameda and their tangled web of affiliated entities filed for bankruptcy on November 11, 2022. And that's what the SEC complaint reads. So it's in plain sight.
Yeah.
It's in plain sight.
That's how they got away with it, because it was all in plain sight.
Yeah.
And people chose to ignore it.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, it doesn't look good for the fraud man. And I think this Eleanor lady is going to end up getting it too. You know, there may be people, I'll tell you what, when Madoff did his little Madoff, when he made off with people's money, people took their lives. They really did. You should look it up. People took their lives, including his own son. We may see that. I hope we don't see that here, but, you know, golly. All right. There's some really interesting, shocking news out there as well, and it has to do with TikTok. You've heard of TikTok? Well, lawmakers now, and this isn't just Republicans or Democrats, this is bipartisan. So TikTok is now going to be tick dead in the United States. So they're announcing a bipartisan legislation that would actually ban TikTok. I wish they would ban these people. Look, Rob, the other day I was out on the street and somebody came up to me with the camera and they were just filming me like they own me on the damn street.
Yeah.
I was like, don't put that camera in my face. And they kept putting it in. Bump. You know what? There's too much of this live streaming that's going on in the streets right there, and it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous.
And these people are making money doing this. YouTube, shame on you. They're paying these people to go out on the street and film homeless people, people that are deranged, people like myself that are just walking their dog out on the street, you know, not expecting someone to jump in your face and with the camera and try to talk to you. There's a lot of this stuff going on. These sites should be shut down. So a handful of American lawmakers right now, including Republican Senator Mark Rubio, announced bipartisan legislation yesterday that would ban China's social media app TikTok in the United States. And this move adds pressure on the video sharing app's owner, ByteDance, amid fears among some in the U.S. that could actually be used to spy on Americans or censor content. Well, this is what I'm talking about. Even these people on the street, Rob, they're spying on your personal self. And you know how many people are probably watching this kind of stuff?
Hundreds, thousands.
Yeah. It's like we don't have privacy anymore.
I mean, you know, when it comes to TikTok, I think
it's not just TikTok.
I'm just saying we're talking about TikTok in general.
Yeah. There's a thing called IRL out there. There's a thing called Prism. All you got to do nowadays is have a phone, and you can just go out on the street and just film people anytime you want.
Yeah.
It's despicable.
Yeah.
There should be a law banning that crap.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Sounds like it grinds your gears.
It's like anybody with a cell phone, any one of these things can just go out and start filming people. And they have these sticks on them, right? Or they have these sticks on them. I was watching some crazy stuff yesterday that came across YouTube. It just kind of like sent me a link to go look. And I looked at it real quick. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
It was some guy interviewing a toothless woman on the street, had no panties on. It was like crazy, and it was on YouTube. And I'm like, YouTube, you don't censor that shit?
Yeah.
You censor me talking about COVID? Yeah, you got these idiots out on the street filming people that are deranged. Enough said. Enough said. Anyway, this has been a good day today.
Yeah.
You got anything you want to put in?
No, nothing right now. Just
How many days till Christmas?
what are we? 10 days away.
Yeah, we have our Christmas party Friday night.
I'm excited.
You gonna get drunk?
Yeah, I'll drink a little bit.
You gonna vape?
Am I? Well, no. Maybe if I get too drunk. I might.
Romeo, you want to say anything? We gonna go? Anyway, good talking to y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be more news about the fraud man. I don't know. He'll probably be quiet for a while. He's in prison now, right?
You think so?
Yeah, he's behind bars now. I think the next episode is on Caroline. I think she's the next one.
You think she is?
I don't know. I don't see how they can let her out. Almeida Research. They're going to pit them. They're going to pit those
allegedly, Gary Gensler is her father-in-law.
Oh,
no,
really?
Not father-in-law. I'm sorry. What is it when you get baptized? What's that called? What is it called? Godfather. That's what it is. Yeah. Allegedly.
I don't know.
Allegedly, the head of the SEC is her godfather.
I think they're going to put those two together like pit bulls and have them fight each other. Because she's already if saying shit about him and he's saying shit about her.
I mean, if she has, Clinton's, pristine private lawyer, I mean, she's not going to be saying a word. They're going to try to go ahead and.
That's true. You can't say nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say nothing. Well, I wonder why a fraud man was out there talking all his shit.
Because he's ballsy. He thought he was untouchable.
Yeah. You realize you're not hearing nothing from her, right?
as it should be. Like if
Do me a favor, dig into it today on her.
oh yeah,
Find out where she is for me. Find out some stuff. We can find out all this, and then we'll share it with you. We'll share it